Welcome back. Are there... God, come on, Jess. All right, are there any more questions from the floor? We have a question. Helen.
Yeah, so we're getting into election season, federally and provincially. I'm just wondering, do you have any ideas about how you would gather engagement from students on campus to be engaged in the elections happening? And just one of the issues that was put forward to me from one of the MPs in Ottawa was that young people just don't vote, and it's a huge problem in Canada. And I'm just wondering if you have any ideas of how you would address that.
So that's a very good question. I think one of the biggest assets that we can use in that case would be social media. So we could really be using whatever social media outlets that the GSA has to really get that information out to students and let them know that there is an election going on, and let them know where they can find the important information for that. This could also go with increasing our social media presence. So by increasing that, we'll be able to reach more students with information about, say, federal elections or any information in general. And that's about all I have. Thank you.
Well, there are many ways we could address this. So for us, it's going to be first presenting things at council, making sure they are aware of what they would be voting for. And also, we can use the e-newsletter and other forms. We could have, just like this, organize a meeting at the grad house. I mean, we have this space that we can use to get students together and address issues that are relevant for us. And we also have, so the external position could use the External Affairs Committee to present things to the committee and then make it go through the different path, whether it's through their report to council, through me. But reaching out with, as Jessica mentions, social media, the website, Twitter, blogging, that was one of the things, I don't think I've mentioned it, or maybe I did, but CASA and other associations and alliances use it to raise awareness about issues. And I think blogging actually allows to present things in a more, let's say, engaging way. So that would be a way for us to actually present what we're working on and what our position is, and then make sure students are aware of how to get engaged and get their opinion out to us too. But I don't know if that answers it.
All right. Any questions about anything else?
Maybe this question's more geared to the PSA portfolio, I think. What's one resource on campus that either the GSA is not affiliated with, or is affiliated with, that you want to at least make ties with or build a stronger bond? Like resources such as like the Student Success Center, et cetera, et cetera. Is that the right portfolio? I don't know.
Yes. So you're talking about the resource on campus, right? That we can collaborate with to enhance the graduate student experience. So one simple example is the Career Center, right? Because the Career Center, right? Now, one of the manifesto that I'm proposing is that even while we collaborate with the Career Center to organize events, bringing companies to do some career sessions for graduate students, specifically targeted to graduate students. Because you agree with me that the current status quo, it's a little bit lopsided. It's focused on the undergrads, right? Now, if we have a relationship, a way we can forge a relationship with good companies, they will come to campus, organize career sessions targeted to graduate students. For example, I'm thinking of forging an alliance with Professional Engineers of Ontario. We'll find a way that even before you graduate, we can have sessions on how to become a PNG or engineer in training. Well, of course, we know if you have bachelors in Canada, you automatically considered EIT. But what about those international students that they don't know how to go about it, but they want to have it? right? We should give that room to them. We have a way to, lecture them on what to do, how to go about it for them to become professional engineers, so that at the end of the day, they become more marketable. So those are the, some of the things I'm thinking of that we should do to enhance our graduate student experience. Thank you.
The resources that come to mind first that we should do a better job of collaborating with the Feds, Faculty Association, and Staff Association. So traditionally, we sort of operate as separate entities, and we're in some ways separate, but we do have a lot of common interests, especially with the Feds, with student services, and our insurance plans, and so on. But what we haven't really explored a lot is the Staff Association. And one of the things that Colleen and I discovered this year, it's kind of obvious, but grad students as TAs are kind of employees on campus in a sense, and so we really need to talk a lot more with the Staff Association to collaborate on that and getting that get policies so they're, because right now, actually, a little story, there are no employment records for grad students on campus that are really kind of consistent for TAs, and that has to change. So working with HR and the Staff Association moving forward, we really need to correct that. There's one resource that actually doesn't exist yet, which we really need to push for next year. We've made progress on for the last 3 years, the Student Advocacy Office, a place that students can go and other members of the university community can go to get advocacy help when they have issues with the university or someone else on campus. And so that's something that Krista worked on when she was Vice President of Student Affairs a few years ago, and then Colleen and I worked on since then, and right now we have a proposal for an actual office, and we're pushing for that as one of our priorities next year. So, thanks.
Any questions, follow-up questions? Sir?
As students who have our own concerns like the tuition, the TA rates, and but as a university, they have their own concerns like the research funding and the university ranking globally. So I think the best way to solve our problem, our students' problem, is to correlate our problem to the concerns of the university. That's the best way to solve the problem. So I want to know that how would you correlate this concerns together to serve the university, serve the students?
I'll leave this to whoever wants to.
I'll make a quick comment and let my colleagues carry on, but one of the best things that you can do to get the university's attention is to say, if you don't do this, we're not going to be competitive. That really gets their attention. So if you don't pay TAs properly, if you don't give grad students the right stipends or attract enough scholarships, you're not going to get the best students you can, and that's going to hurt your research productivity. And if you have better research productivity, you bring in more money. So, I mean, that's kind of the approach that we try to take when we advocate for these things.
I agree with that because at this age, all the university want to talk about is ranking, right? I mentioned that University of Waterloo was ranked as the Stanford of Canada, right? And for us to attain that position is because of the caliber of people that we attract. The studies have shown that above 90% students come to University of Waterloo. Most of the students you see there are whiz kids. They all know what they're doing. But that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit concerned. Because if we have excellent students coming into the school, and at the end of the day, a couple of them are dropping out of the school, that means there must be something wrong along the line, which we need to find out what the problem is. So to answer your question, of course, we need to let the university know that the ranking is at stake if we don't ensure that the graduate students have enabling environment in terms of financial resources, career counseling. Because if you're not sure of your future, the motivation to study is a little bit gloomy. So those are the things that we need to address, to ensure that the graduate students, they are comfortable and they are happy with their experience in University of Waterloo. Because if the students are happy, they become productive, they become competitive, and you can get the best out of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the floor? Okay. If not, are there any questions from the candidates to other candidates? Marion.
I was wondering what is the experience, what is their previous experience that is associated with the GSA before applying for the executive positions? If each could say that. Thank you.
Stop in the middle. Well, in terms of previous experience with the GSA, I believe whether it is GSA or student body, so long you have had an experience dealing with students. It doesn't matter whether it is GSA or it is departmental students or it is whatever level it is, because a student is a student. And the concern of a student, number one, is finance, right? If you can attend to that problem, and if you can attend to their problem in terms of food, they are good. So for me, if you read my bio, I finished my master's in University of Utah. In University of Utah, I was a graduate student senator for College of Engineering. In University of Utah, I was a pioneer and the vice president of National Society of Black Engineers. In the same school, I was the president of International Student-Association. And those are, wide-reaching associations that you have to make decisions on issues that affect about thousands of students. And in those situations, you have to come up with decisions that will make sure that you not only please the authorities, you also make sure that the students are satisfied with whatever you're doing. So those are the experience I bring to the table. And this kind of experience can also be, it can be transferred from one region to the other. It doesn't matter whether you're in the United States or you're in Canada. Currently, I'm the Vice President of Finance in Civil and Environmental Engineering Department. And, I believe I've been doing a tremendous job. You can ask. That's the president over there. She can attest to that. So my credential is impeccable. So this position, I'm just the perfect person. Make sure you vote for me. Thank you.
Let's go down the line. Just down the train? Go down the train.
Yeah, down the
Okay. I've been involved with the GSA both as an executive and as a volunteer for, I guess, the last 5 years. And I'm looking for one more mandate from the graduate students to just finish off some things that we've started. I'm looking to finish those this year. That's why I'm running, and want to complete those in my last potential term in office. So I hope to be reelected to see that happen. Thank you.
So I would say it's a snowball effect for me. I started with the GSA as a counselor for the French department, and there were committees that I got interested in. So the first one was the orientation committee, and the work that Robert and Krista and Rose and all the members of the GSA were putting together to get this done. The second committee was the funding committee, and I went there as the arts representative to know more about how things are done at the university, because it's quite complex, because it's not just a number, it's a lot of variables to get that number. So making sure we know how to do things. And knowing that I got more involved, I was approached and I felt like, well, maybe I can run as an exec. And I went for the position as an exec for student affairs. And right now I want to keep going for communication and events, because I want to work on certain projects for communication and events. That's it.
So I mentioned all these things in my opening statement, but I'll just reiterate. So right now I'm the president of the GSA. Before that, I was the vice president of student affairs. A year before that, I was the counselor for physics and astronomy. And then I started out before that as a volunteer. I spent most of my university career at the University of Waterloo. So I've seen the student perspective from both undergraduate and grad. And over the past few years that I've built up into the GSA, I've developed a lot of relationships with university administration. So all those things put together really sort of give the sort of well-rounded experience that I have to push various projects through the university. Yeah.
So my experience with the GSA exclusively would be as a volunteer. So I worked as a volunteer for the orientation, as well as a volunteer at the Grad House for Free Food Thursdays. On campus, I've been a student here for probably about 8 years now as an undergraduate and a graduate student. So I've developed a lot of relationships with people around campus. And I've also been a part, as I mentioned in my speech, a part of a lot of major events that have happened on campus. So I do possess the capabilities to be able to run events effectively. Thank you.
Okay, so as I said that I started here in Canada last year, so I don't have any experience here in Canada, but I'm from Bangladesh, so I was the president of the Undergraduate-Student-Association there. So I know how to deal with the student, and being a student of Waterloo as a grad student, so I know what's the problem, or because I'm also facing that problems and the needs the grad student I'm actually facing for. So I know them, and I think I have the ability to deal with this problem, and I will improve the services for the students. So I think I'm the best for the position, and please vote for me, and that's it.
Well, since I'm the last one on the train here, basically, I think it's fair to say that we all have different backgrounds in terms of experience. I don't think anybody here is running without any experience. But for me personally, my experience lies with the Pharmacy Grad Association. I was part of the co-founding team for that association at the pharmacy school. I've served as a VP Finance and served as a VP Internal there, so for a total of 2 years. I've also initiated and currently the chair of the Farm Club. And in terms of experience directly with the GSA, that's not necessarily a direct involvement, but I have worked at the grad house for a while, so you get to see some of the involvement that the GSA does, and by all means, I think, personally, I appreciate all the effort that the current GSA execs are putting together. There's a lot of stuff happening, and even though I currently don't have any direct experience on the GSA, I think my other experiences speak for themselves, and with that, becomes a suitable candidate for the VP internal position. Thank you.
We have a question.
The question is for CRO and DRO. So I know that all of the candidates couldn't make it here. So all of the candidates couldn't make it here today. So is there an arrangement that they could record their responses to some of the questions? Or
There isn't currently, but potentially that could be set up.
I mean, if it would have been great if they could make here, but there could be so many reasons. I mean, and usually, I mean, if you guys have to broadcast it or like put it on the web, if you can send them some generic questions about like and if you want to record their response.
Yeah, and if we can't record, we could even get a written response with some sort of page essay limit. It's not too long, but yeah.
Yeah, like I the question you said, like what is your main goal or what have you achieved or something like that.
I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I think we should aim to put that up.
It would be fair for competition.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Any questions either from the floor or candidates to other candidates? Colleen?
So if you're not elected or re-elected to the position you currently are running for, what do you think you want to get involved to make sure that somehow the projects you're talking about, you want to have them implemented?
Do you want to start with you?
Sure. So I'm a happy person. I'm a volunteer. Jessica as well. So we're kind of going against each other here. It's awful, but so I would continue my involvement as a volunteer for the events, and especially, so the Student Success Office is always looking for volunteers and peer mentors for the events they run, especially orientation. So I would probably put my name forward for this. Make sure that I'm still involved in the committees I'm in. As a senator, I'm still at Senate, so I still have a voice over there, attending the Senate meetings and making sure we are aware of the student issues. I would also try to connect with the person who gets elected as communication and events to provide them with the connections I have with the community. Because I know a couple of people from the city, the Kitchener-Waterloo city councillors, as well as the artistic director of Neruda Arts, and they put forward festivals, and I think for the community it would be amazing to participate in that type of events. So I would try to bring these things in for them.
Thank you. Yeah? same role.
Sorry, I just want to get back to the question. So it was
If you're not elected, how will you still make sure you're involved to somehow move forward with what you could have been doing?
Okay, that's a good question. So to start, because I'm not currently holding this position, it wouldn't be a difference per se. But I know that having this experience as a volunteer for the GSA, I've been very excited to get involved, and I ran for this position because I wanted to just sort of increase that and get involved a lot more. So in terms of what I would do, I would definitely continue what I have been doing with the volunteering, especially for Free Food Thursdays with the people, Colleen and Ty, the organizer. I would also make sure to come out to as many GSA events as I can, which I've also been doing. I would also just try to communicate any ideas that I have also with the GSA members. So now that I can kind of put a face to the name of all the members that are here, I would make sure to let them know of any ideas that I do have. And that's about it. Thank you.
Let's go to VP Internal.
I think that's another very valid question by Colleen. So if I'm not elected as VP Internal, I would like to try for the at-large director, so that will keep me involved with the GSA at some level. And either that or I might nominate myself for the president of the Pharmacy Grad Association, which will have me here as a counselor for the GSA of our department. So that will still keep me in the link with GSA and continue to gather experience that way. So yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you for the question, Colleen. Very valid. My response would be I would continue volunteering. I have been a volunteer for the GSA. I probably would run for an at-large position on the board. I mean, I restructured the board, restructured the association while being an at-large director, so I definitely have the experience as a volunteer, and I'd look to be involved in some capacity. Thank you for the question.
Okay, Student Affairs, Broughton.
So I would continue to serve on the committees that I already do serve on that's sort of independent of my position on the GSA Executives. So there are some committees on campus where that's the case. And I believe there is also a mechanism to appoint at-large counselors as a mechanism to report on my activities. So I would do that. And as other candidates have indicated, I would definitely try for an at-large director position as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that thoughtful question. So just like my other candidates, I'll probably run for the director at large too, and get involved as much as possible, because I know we've got a great team here, and they probably put in their best. So with one or two new guys, they'll probably do better, I think. So I'll volunteer as much as I can, contribute my experience that I've gathered over the years, so that we can, all of us can enjoy the Graduate-Student Association, make, the students appreciate what we do, so that we can have this place filled up if we have events like this. Thank you.
Cool, thanks. Apologies, forgot Sonia for VP Internal.
Okay, thank you for your question. And I think if I not get elected, then I will connect to the current, I will email or something, contact with the current GSA members to how to to share my ideas, and maybe I will take the students' vote as well to show how my ideas are really in need for the graduate students, so they can utilize it and they can imply it for if they can. So yeah, that's my idea. Thank you.
Mariam? Sorry, also while you're up there, do you also want to say what your experience is with the GSA?
Yes.
I didn't ask you for your answer.
My experience with GSA is I've been an at-large director from 2012 to 2013, and then vice president communication and events from 2013 to 2014. I would continue my involvement with the SSO regarding their events, orientations, like international exchange students, and also the campus-wide one that we did run that on in last September. I would either go for at-large or go through my own departmental GSA, SIGA, and either run as a council or try to be more active in my own department. Thank you, Pauline.
Cool. All right. Any questions, follow-up comments from either side of me? Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you all for coming. Don't think I need the mic. And thank you all for running. It's nice to see an election. Yeah, it was great. This is, for those who don't know, first time in 3 years. Yeah, that we've had an election, so this is excellent. I did sign up for this position thinking I'd have no work to do, but it's all right. Anyway, thank you all for coming. This will be uploaded, so tell everyone you know to have a look at this, and also voting on the 5th and 6th of March. It's going to be online. Other than that, if there's any crumbs left over, which doesn't look like there are, good. Thank you all for coming. Woo!